All right, so today I'm going to install an intercooler on the car. This is a VRSF 7.5-inch race intercooler. They also make a 7.5-inch competition, but the race has a lot denser fins. And they also have a 5-inch. Basically, this thing is, the 5-inch would be plenty sufficient for where I'm at right now. This thing is one of the best on the market. And basically I'll never outflow this thing. And so that means at least where I'm at now, we're gonna have incredibly cool temps. It shouldn't really go up that much over ambient during any hard pulls. And then as I get more with the car, it'll still suffice. So this came with a lot of stuff. These brackets, which I don't quite know what they are yet. These here, I think mounting for the tabs on the sides of the intercooler. Bunch of clamps here. We've got these hard pipes here, which I'm assuming are just to connect some things, but I haven't quite figured that all out yet. Got a ton of couplers, and well, we've got 5 couplers. Not quite sure yet what all these are for, but I'll figure it out as I go. But really, the main purpose of this is the intercooler. So on BMWs, it seems like most aftermarket intercoolers end up having this step to it. So the factory intercooler is somewhere around this height and sits underneath like the radiator and stuff. This then protrudes out in front of it and comes up, and I believe either up to like the crash bar itself or the actual bumper behind, or possibly up behind that. I'm not exactly sure where exactly it fits, but basically this has a ton more frontal surface area as well. Like this section here alone is 3 inches. And then this here is another 4.5 inches. So this section on the bottom from front to back is the 7.5 inch. It's got these tabs here to mount it. Got the inlet and outlet, and then it's got these little tabs down here for the fan shroud. So should work real nice. I just have to figure out, I think possibly these little bracket things, which I've now got buried. I think these things might sit under here. I might have grabbed the wrong side. They might sit under and go off to something else to help hold it. I'm not quite sure yet. I got to figure that out. But this thing is massive. The whole box to ship, this was 45 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what the weight on this is, but this thing is, it's probably the heaviest intercooler I've ever held. But realistically, all I've had an upgraded intercooler on my old Focus ST. And physically, I think that might have been taller, but this thing is just massive. It's just so deep and thick. But yeah, so let's get into it. So we got the factory intercooler out, and now we've got the VRSF next to it. That is a massive size difference. The entire factory core will sit on top of that spot, and the height's actually like even there. So you're effectively doubling the height on the front side of this, as well as adding 3 inches to the front. Actually, it didn't measure that to see if that's actually 4.5 or not, but you're adding width or depth to the front, as well as doubling the height on this frontal part. And I haven't really looked that closely. At the fin density, but this does seem a little bit denser to me. So this thing's just so much better than that factory one. Okay, just to catch up where we are, I've got the pipes in here and started test fitting the intercooler in. I'm gonna have to cut like this corner out on each side of the fan shroud just to get the intercooler to clear here. I think I'm clear everywhere else, which really didn't involve that much. There was a little bit of a plastic right here that I got out, but otherwise everything else in the car seems to clear on its own already. And I didn't record getting the piping in, but the long pipe ended up going on this side, and then you can kind of maybe see here. You can see the top of the thing, but that's basically just an elbow into there's that small hard connector or hard pipe into this here. So pretty simple on both sides. But yeah, I just need to trim this up, then I should be able to lift the intercooler up into place. I've been fighting trying to get the intercooler in. There's no instructions that come with this, and from looking at it, so the original intercooler, there's these little plastic things that the original intercooler screwed into, and there's another one still in here. So the kit comes with these screws, which made me think that you were supposed to reuse those holes, and it also came with these brackets. So my thought was use this bracket into something to support it and use those screws. So I was looking up here at this mount here to get the screws in, but there's no way that those brackets were lining up. On this side here, I haven't cut anything yet. So you can see where the tab's falling and where these holes are. There's just no way there. And the kit, so I don't have the clamps on here, but the intercooler is as far back as it'll go. One other thing is that I thought I was running into issues. Thought I was running into issues because this tab here for the shroud is supposed to fit right in here, but I can't lift the intercooler any higher. If I lift it more than maybe a 1/4 inch higher, I start lifting the entire radiator. So there's no way these are fitting in. So I'm assuming that this actual intercooler works both on the 3 Series and the 5 Series, and maybe the 3 Series, these tabs line up with something, and these tabs actually work for the fan shroud. So as is, I trimmed way more than I needed to, thinking I needed clearance back here, but I didn't take enough plastic off here. And I think that's my main problem that I've been running into. So I found on their website a picture that shows these brackets bolting where I thought they would go onto these bolts to here. And it looks like the long one goes on the right side and the short one goes on the left side. So the short one here, I could cut more plastic out, but I think it'll fit. I need to get around this line here, but I'm pretty sure I'm good there. This side, which I didn't look at until just now, is not gonna work this way, so I'd have to have it this way, which I guess will work, but the intercooler's gonna have to drop some for it to work. So I actually have to have the intercooler, I don't know, whatever that distance is, lower. So I've got to clearance this. I already started clearancing this plastic here, thinking that somehow I could get to fit this way or something, but I'm just gonna cut like I did the other side, probably cut here across. Also, I've seen some people say that you need to remove this, but I haven't seen a reason why to need to remove this flap on either side. It's not hitting anything, and realistically when the bumper's on, it should help direct air into the intercooler and back into the rest of the, even with it going around, it should be hitting like the radiator and stuff behind versus leaving this all open and letting it flow really into nothing, because this here has a scoop on the bumper to pull air in for the brakes. And I think on this other side here, I'm gonna put a hole to get the this temp sensor in. I think it's ambient temp sensor, which originally was on a bracket up here somewhere. That was no way the intercooler was going in with that bracket there. So yeah, so I'm at the point basically I need to clearance this plastic so I can get this on. Also, it did not come with any hardware to mount, so I have hardware, bolts and nuts and stuff. So I'll have something that'll work for that, but it's kind of weird that they send a kit that has that, but don't send the hardware. And then I still need to figure this out. This, I believe, is a transcooler. Originally it sat kind of flat here, but there's no way to get it. I have seen some people with the shorter intercoolers, the lines will bend and it'll fold up kind of right in front of the power steering cooler, which you can see right here. But I don't have enough of a gap in there to get the transcooler in between. There is a small gap, but I'm not gonna try to sandwich intercooler into transcooler into the power steering cooler, and I don't want fins cutting into other fins and stuff. So I might end up turning this backwards. Let's see if I've got enough clearance around the jack. Yeah. So I may end up putting this, if I can get the lines to cooperate, somewhere like here. So there's no kink in the lines there. If I put it like here, and I might even cut out, I'm not sure, there might be a hole in the bottom plastics in this area, but if not, I might cut a little hole just to get airflow into this. But that's really my best solution that I can come up with now. Actually, look in there, there is a hole. I just don't know where that's gonna line up. But yeah, so that's the fun that I've been having with this so far. It still will be a great kit. It just seems like it's kind of a universal intercooler, or like core itself. And it doesn't come with any instructions. So you kind of got to go through, unless you've done this before, you got to go through and figure out what parts work for you and what parts you don't need. And there's also, aside from that, I've got a couple couplers left over. I'm gonna have a couple clamps left over. These two here are actually for the large clamps. And then these here is all plastic that's not going back in the car already, let alone what I still need to cut out. So yeah, I'll keep moving on it and make progress. Okay, so the intercooler is actually fully bolted on. Got these bolts here. The coupler is connected. I don't know if you can tell. Bolts here and the coupler's connected. And then I've got the transcooler sitting here. So, best spot I can get it. Ideally, I'm probably gonna either hopefully that opening in here lines up here, or I'm gonna cut something so that we can have some airflow up over that. I skipped a few of the install steps putting things back together, but the car is done. Still fits pretty good for the bumper. The intercooler, you can see back there and through the grill if you really look. The intercooler does hit the bottom of the bumper like here and here, which kind of shifts things and made it a little bit harder to get on. I cut a slot in the bottom of this this bottom cover to try to get some airflow through the transcooler that's now sitting back there. But everything's buttoned back up. I just need to roll it off the ramps and it's good to go.